Welcome back to another episode of STL Real Estate Roundtable. I'm your host, Jaden Barr, team leader and CEO of Keller Williams Realty Chesterfield. And today I'm joined by a very special guest, Mr. Tim Koppel. Tim, thanks so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. So I'm excited. Let's dive right in. What got you started in a career in real estate?
So this isn't like the most glamorous answer of all time. So I actually was a college soccer coach. So I was an assistant coach at Missouri Baptist University and really wanted to be the head coach either there or somewhere else. So I got into real estate basically part-time to kind of bide my time and to get in that role. Well, I kept having a couple offers come through and they just weren't as high paying as I was hoping. And I had a family at the time. So, I had to make the decision a couple of years after getting into real estate to go full time and really give it my all. So first 2 or 3 years were part time. And then after that, full time, but it's no glamorous story. It just happened to fall into it.
Okay. Gotcha. So, how'd you get introduced to real estate? Like there's a lot of different sales jobs out there. Like what led you to?
Yeah. Weirdly enough, I just really liked HGTV, and I know that's such like a cliche, weird answer, but then me and my wife were looking for a house, and we went into the home that we first bought, and a guy named Dwan Roquette was there, and super smooth guy, and he worked at Berkshire Hathaway. He's a broker, so he's like, "Yeah, man, I think you should do real estate. I think you should join our office," and he had me sold in like 90 seconds. So I started my classes, and like maybe 3-4 months after that, I joined their office.
That's awesome. So how many years ago was that?
That was 2017.
2017?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And it's been sunshine and rainbows ever since, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the first 3 years were rough. Like, I think if you asked anybody in my office or like any broker that knew me, they'd be like, dude, he's going to be gone in 6 months. Mm-hmm. But, it took a little bit of growing up. I was still young then, and a little bit of tough love and stuff like that to finally figure out how to do it. And my broker now, Rick Colburn, has been a huge help. And I know he's not a Keller Williams guy, but I've got to give him a shout out. He's been a huge help, and he helped me really grow my business from, doing maybe like 7 to 10 deals a year to, growing a team and doing hundreds. So,
yeah. So you mentioned growing a team. Like what's that process been like? And walk me through what it's like to have a team, have a business partner. Like what's that process been like?
Yeah. So, I grew up playing sports. I played very competitive baseball growing up and then soccer after that. So I always like to be around people and have teammates and stuff like that. And real estate can be a really lonely industry, especially when you're in the lows. Like a lot of ebbs and flows. And when you're down low by yourself, it's never fun. So it's always great to have somebody or more people than that to pick you up. So I always wanted a team, and I didn't know if I'd ever be the team leader, but that's always great. I started a team in 2020 with a different agent. Actually, we're no longer partners, but we started it to basically make more money and a little bit of collaboration. And then from there it grew. And now I have a different team, but I think it worked out for the best. And I think she would probably say the same thing as well.
Awesome. So part of building a team is attracting and then keeping talent, right?
Yeah.
So walk me through, because there's probably a lot of agents, high producers that are watching this that, they're at that point where they're up to their eyeballs in business and they need to make it higher. So like talk me through kind of your approach to that.
Sure. So when I take the approach of like how to start the team, I want to look at my dollar per hour. So you have to figure out what you want to make in the industry and then figure out from there what is not going to help you get there. So like for me, I stink at paperwork, and then social media is not my strong suit. So the first things that I wanted to do was transaction coordinator. So we went out and got a transaction coordinator. Then from there, that role grew into an operations manager because social media needed to be taken over as well. So after you kind of get that foundation, then you can start going for more agents if you want. It's not for everybody though. You're answering a lot of phone calls that, if you're out at dinner with somebody, it might not be the most fun, but you have to do it. But I think once you get the groundwork, you can kind of figure out if you want one more agent, 20 more agents, something like that. There's no right way to do it.
background in athletics, right? Background in coaching. How is that translated over to the real estate side of things?
Yeah. So especially with the agents on our team, like I'm much more of a nurturing person and I want to hear about your day. I want to hear about your downfalls and try to pick you up and things like that. And I think it's kind of the same with athletics. You know, when I was at Missouri Baptist, the coaching staff was over 54 people. Now, thank God I don't have that many agents, but, you know, I think it translates a lot. You're with people through the highs and the lows. You have to pick them up, and sometimes you even have to bring them down a little bit. I think without going into a 2-hour answer, that's probably the easiest way to put it is, you know, you get to manage people, but it's also, you know, making sure that they're in the right mindset and things like that.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes or one of my favorite sayings that my college quarterback coach told me was be a thermostat, not a thermometer.
Okay.
Right? A thermostat sets the temperature in the room, right? Thermometer adjusts to what's happening around it.
Right? I think that's a really good quote.
That's one of my favorite things and you know, favorite sayings that I try to keep at the forefront in like a leadership role is, you know, be a thermostat, not a thermometer. So
I will probably be stealing that.
There you go. There you go. There you go. You got some out of today.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's awesome. So what has been some of the lessons learned over the years, right? Getting licensed to where you are today, what have been some of the key things that have stood out as far as the keys to success in your business or lessons learned throughout your career so far?
Yeah. So like I said, lots of ebbs and flows in the business, and making sure that your mindset is always right is by far the biggest one for me. You know, I've seen hundreds of people in and out of Berkshire Hathaway in my 8 years there. And you can tell pretty much right away who's actually going to make it and who's not. And it's always the person with the right mindset. So whether it's reading books or in a morning routine, whatever you have to do to make sure that you're there, you have to. Or, you know, I think the stat is in 3 years, 87% of agents are out of the business. That's the first thing that's going to make you be one of the 13%.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy how many agents there are at the market, right?
Yeah.
And then how many agents, maybe they have a license, but they don't actually produce anything.
I think that's like 74% of agents don't produce any business throughout the year.
Right. So pat yourself on the back.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we can both.
There you go. Right.
Jeez.
So what do you forecast for 2025? Like how is 2024? And then how do you think it's going to compare to the market this year?
With our team wise, we're hoping, I guess I should say, it's only early February, but we're hoping for about a 25% increase. And I think you're going to see with the supply and demand, I mean, that's the biggest part of anything. The supply is still not there for the demand. So you're still going to see real estate go up, you know, no matter what the interest rate is. I mean, if it's 15, it might, you know, be a little bit different, but it's been around 7 for 3 years or so now, you know. So I think you're going to continue to see people coming out and buying homes. You're going to continue to see the prices rise. So I think it's unfortunately maybe not the sexy answer, but it's going to be more of the same.
Yeah.
I'm not a big doom and gloom guy. You know, I don't foresee a market crash or anything like that. So yeah, more of the same. Supply is still behind the demand, and that's the key drive in real estate for me.
Yeah. 100%. I couldn't agree more. I think it's going to be a lot of the same from 2024, right? And agents, you see agents that had a down year, you see agents that had their best year ever, and there's got to be something that the agent that had the best year ever took action on that led to that, right? So I think success leaves clues. I think agents with that right mindset that won't use the market as an excuse for why their business is down, I think those are the agents that are going to win. Right.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, I think, again, the mindset thing, but if you want to correlate anything to the market and how you're doing as a real estate agent, it's your mindset. And I know lots of agents last year that came in with the doom and gloom and, you know, they sold 50%, maybe even more than that, less than they did the years before. Mm-hmm. But if you come in and you just realize, I got bills to pay, I have to crush it. You're going to find people that are going to buy and sell houses.
Right.
It's just something you have to do. It's just like any other job. I have to make money. I have to feed my family. So how else am I going to do it? I got to sell houses.
Right. And there's people buying and selling every day, right? It's
Absolutely.
regardless of the market condition, right? I led an exercise in our office this past week where I talked about the 4Ds, right? Death, downsize, diapers, and divorce, right? There's people that are going to move this year, no matter what the market's doing. And it's just a matter of staying top of mind, adding value to those people so that when they've got a real estate need, the first person they think of is you.
Yeah. I mean, go in the MLS every morning, click that little drop down to where it says 24 hours. Look at how many closed. Why can't one of those be you?
Exactly.
Absolutely can. There's hundreds of them. Why can't one of them be you?
Yeah.
And there's nothing that can stop you if you have the right mindset and you're a go-getter.
Yeah. Would have been some of the challenges that you're looking forward to overcoming in 2025, or what are some of the areas of your business that you're looking to improve this year compared to last year?
Social media. I mean, it's the big one for everybody, I feel like.
Hot topic.
Yeah, it's the big one for everybody, but that's how you find clients that you're not talking to every day, right? There's not a lot of ways to do that now, but social media is the big one, whether it's, the TikTok or Instagram, whatever. I say the TikTok like I'm 65 years old, but I'm only 34, but you can tell I don't TikTok, just being more present on that and giving real data and real value to people more than just throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think social media is definitely an area that everyone should have an awareness around and somewhat of a focus on their business, because it's kind of like your first interview with people, right? Whenever they know they're going to meet with you, the first thing they're going to do is look you up on Instagram, Facebook, and get to know more about you, right? So we want to make sure that that profile tells a good story.
Yeah. I mean, I think my whole team does a really good job from when they get the client to close and even after that in the follow-up. But to get more clients is kind of, that's what everybody needs, right? Everybody needs more clients. So I think social media is the big key this year, and then we'll start to build off that in the years to come.
Do you feel like how has the market changed over the last 12 months?
So are you looking for it from an agent standpoint or from like a consumer standpoint?
Either one.
Let's go from an agent standpoint. I don't care what the market is like. I still have to sell homes. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter if it's a down year or an up year. You still have to go out and do it. Mm-hmm. Interest rate could be 4 or it could be 7 like it was. I mean, you remember 3 years ago when interest rates skyrocketed and, the world was falling.
And what were agents saying then? Oh, it's so hard.
Yeah, it's so hard.
Under contract, right?
It's so hard because you limited yourself, not because of anything else. People still had to move. Like you said, the 4Ds. People still had babies. People still went into retirement homes. Those people still need to be serviced too. So when you're out there not looking, you're going to miss a lot. But if your eyes are open, you're going to be able to find it.
There's opportunity everywhere.
Yeah. So for the consumer, how's it going to be in 2025? Was that the question?
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
I think.
Or how has the market shifted?
How has the market shifted?
How is the market different from what it was?
So I think that with prices still rising and stuff, it's going to be, again, very difficult for the people that are under 350,000. So you're going to have, that's when you have to have the best agent. When you have the first time home buyer, they have to be able to go out and grind and things like that. Homes in the 700,000s and stuff, they're going to sell. It's going to take some time. But when you're up against multiple offers, you have to have somebody that knows what's going on. So for the market, you just have to have the right agent. Mm-hmm. There's been so many times where I saw an Instagram post from you yesterday. You had like 99 off market deals or whatever that, you could throw out to people. Not everybody has that.
Yeah.
So I think by far picking the right agent will solve all your problems in 2025. It doesn't matter what the market's doing if you have the right person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, not all agents are equal. It's like,
no,
there's
95% of them are very much less than equal.
Right. So talk to me about like how you grew your business to where it is now. Like you get started, you pass your exam, and then what? Like what led to the growth that you've seen over the years?
I think it's difficult to start, right? Because it is the biggest purchase that 99.9% of people are going to make. So it's hard for even friends sometimes to see, oh, that's Tim Koppel, the realtor, not Tim Koppel, soccer guy, or Tim Koppel, my friend that in high school college, we had 15 beers together, So once you start to make that shift and like be able to show people value, it starts to slowly increase. There are very few people that go from 0 to 50 homes sold in a year quickly, like that quick. But if you just keep treading on through, then you get the referrals from the people that you've already worked with or from your friends that now trust you. And from there, if you can continue to take care of those people, it just keeps growing and growing. We're mostly referral based. We don't buy leads. So really, you just have to take care of the people that you have and stay top of mind with all your friends. And a lot of times that's going to be the best way to organically grow without throwing a lot of dollars at it.
I agree. I think, I'm at a point now, 5 years in, where a lot of my first time clients, right, people that use me for their first home purchase or first sale, they're coming back around, right? Because they're ready for that next chapter of life that they're entering into. So I'm definitely seeing that, and with social media, everybody sees the highlights, but this business is extremely difficult, and like you said earlier, like it can be extremely lonely too, right? If you choose to make it that way. So I think who you surround yourself with matters, and who you have in your circle and who's pouring into you is huge in this industry, and not a lot of people have that. So the outside looking in, it looks super easy, but it takes a lot of work to grow your business and to be on a constant, kind of quest for success and growth in your personal and professional life.
It takes a special kind of dog to want to be an agent for a long time, and it's not for everybody, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. Some people get out after a couple of years and they were wildly successful. Burnout's a real thing.
Yeah. How do you avoid the burnout? Because there might be agents here watching this that are like, man, I'm exhausted. Like the past few years have been difficult.
I mean, I'm so competitive in everything I do. I like to have my team keep me going, right? So like Sierra Reed is my business partner. She's huge in Lincoln County, probably the best agent in Lincoln County. She crushes it. So when I see that she's got like 4 in a row that she's got under contract and I haven't got anything, I'm like, oh, no. This isn't going to happen.
The gloves are off. Here we go.
So then, it's a healthy competitiveness though, right? And then it's also nice. Teams are the way to go in real estate because it is so lonely sometimes. And you do need help a lot, right? What if I'm out of town? I need a showing. I don't want to go pay somebody that I don't even know, who I'm not sure if they're going to help my client that much. So to have a team to bounce things off of and to be able to help you out and kind of get you out of ruts is huge. Mm-hmm. I played in a soccer tournament literally all weekend. Played 7 games this weekend. Mm-hmm. And I had teammates who helped me out, and I trust those people to be able to take care of my clients just as well as I could. Mm-hmm. Instead of Joe Schmo in the bullpen and I met you a couple of times and maybe had a coffee with you. It's not going to work.
Yeah. Talk to me about the people that you look for on your team. You mentioned you're really competitive, so I'd imagine that's a quality that you look for when bringing on agents. But talk to me about like the ideal agent for your team.
The ideal agent is usually an athlete for me. I think having a competitive streak helps with the burnout, and then it also helps with, it's hard to say, but it helps when somebody knows that they have to do something to win, or they have to provide for their family, or they have to, score a touchdown. When they're a part of a team, there's almost like that innate sense, I cannot let somebody down. Mm-hmm. So I think that having somebody that's really competitive is always great. And they've usually been able to work on teams before. I don't think you want too many team captains on the same team though. Mm-hmm. But good team players are hard to come by, and athletics usually brings out the best or the worst in people, and you want those that the best has been brought out in.
Yeah. Where do you think you got that competitive edge?
Dude, it's been like this since I can remember. I remember in school I hated losing like math games, which I'm not even good at math, but it still made me mad. Mm-hmm. I think it's just kind of always been in me.
Yeah. I can think back to several car rides home Like after a game, your parents come down, they're like, "Hey, good game." And I'm like, "Do you see the scoreboard? We lost. This was not a good game. Why are we talking about this right now?
Yeah.
Let's get in the car." Right. So that always just used to, and Mom and Dad, I love you, but that was always something that was like a pet peeve of mine. It's like, if we lost, I don't want to, it was not a good game. Right.
Yeah. When I coached, so after college, coaching in college, I coached younger kids. They were like 14, so not too young. But I would always tell them, like, let's self-reflect, actually. Not everything is a good game. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what you're saying. Like, don't tell your kid good game if it was a really poor game. But, you don't have to come down on them either. But, don't just be lying to them.
Cool. So what else should we touch on?
I mean, there's a lot of different things going on in real estate. So I would kind of like to hear your opinion on some of the things. Where do you think the market's going to go in 2025?
Yeah, I think, like I said earlier, like, we've got every excuse in the book to not be successful or not win in 2025, right? You've got the market conditions, you've got the uncertainty in the market, you've got buyer hesitancy, you've got people that are rate trapped, right? It's like, you've got all the excuses in the world if you want to use those, but I think there's business happening every single day, and there's plenty to go around for everyone to have a massively successful business. And so I don't, kind of to your point, like, I don't really care about what the market's doing. Like, I'm going to go get it and I'm going to win in 2025. And really it comes down to, like, just taking care of people, like helping people and adding value to whatever questions that they've got going on in their world, and helping them make the best decision going forward. So I think it's going to be more of the same as 2024. I think inventory is still going to struggle just because people are hanging on to that 3% interest rate, and they don't want to give it up.
So what do you think is the biggest key for somebody buying that's under 350, under 400, something like that, where it's super competitive?
Well, with limited inventory out there, I think that price point, that first-time home buyer price point, is still going to be ridiculously competitive, especially whenever you have parents that are, liquidating their 401k to submit a cash offer on their son or daughter's behalf, right? So that's kind of what you're up against in a lot of those scenarios, where if you aren't a cash offer, it might be difficult in certain areas. Now, I've worked with several first-time home buyers last year that we were able to negotiate for seller credit. We got under contract under list price. So there's deals out there, but that pool of buyers is much larger, right? Under that price point. So I think biggest key is, do you have an agent that's willing to grind on your behalf to give you opportunities and know what they're doing enough to where whenever that opportunity is there, they can capitalize on it, right, for you, and educate you on all the different aspects of the sale contract to make your offer more attractive. So that, and then too, like, does your agent have access to off-market opportunities that nobody else can see, right? So I think that's a huge piece of being a part of, like, a larger brokerage that
absolutely
that has those opportunities.
Yeah, and I have great respect for Keller Williams. I know a lot of people at Keller Williams. Everybody I've ever worked with there, and I'm not just saying this because we're on a podcast, always been good to work with. Mm-hmm. And so I'm sure that they have quite a few off-market deals just like we do. So,
yeah,
I think that that's a huge aspect. I'm wondering when or if we're ever going to get affordable housing for the 400 and under again, and if the government will ever step in and kind of do something about that.
Yeah.
Because it's still going to continue to be unaffordable for people that are, probably a little bit younger than us or our age even. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if there's something that they could do, like, you get all these Lombardos and Fisher & Fritzl, which great, that you want to build a more expensive home so you have more money coming in, right? But I wonder if the government ever does anything like tax breaks or something to build homes under $350,000.
Yeah.
Or build homes that somebody of a median income can afford. I think that's probably one of the only ways that we could really help out that demographic of people.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a solution too, because I mean, the housing industry affects everything. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's kind of at the focal point of the economy, and
Yeah.
so if the housing market suffers, kind of everything else suffers too, right? So I mean, there's got to be solutions out there, and it probably take just creative minds to figure out what that is. I'm not that smart,
Maybe
so it's not
going to
come
better
from
than
me.
us. Yeah, yeah,
But there's got to be a solution out there somewhere, right?
yeah. When did you buy your first home?
I bought at 20. Oh, I bought in 2021, so I would have been 24.
I bought in 2017 my first time, and it's just still multiple offers. So it's been like that for quite a while at that, at that dollar amount, the under 350s.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm hoping that something gets done someday.
Yeah,
They get killed down there.
yeah. Right.
I mean, we can do it, but I think it's difficult for people down there to it's also very mentally overwhelming for somebody to get beat out on a couple offers and things like that. So hopefully that somebody can step in and help out.
Yeah, your coach hat kind of has to come on.
100%.
Your buyer has lost out on a couple deals, and you kind of got to remotivate and
Yeah, that's a whole other part of the job.
Fire going again, right?
Yeah, that's a whole nother.
We just wear so many hats, right? As agents, right? You're a financial advisor at times, you're a counselor at times, you're all the things, right? Talk to me about how you manage like work-life balance, family, like all the things with working a job that's so inconsistent with the schedule.
Yeah, so I think a lot of the people I work with are, like I said, friends or referrals. So I don't really get too many people that are just hard to deal with. Knock on wood. I'm sure now I'm going to get somebody that's horrible. But I think a lot of people are respectful of your time, and probably more respectful than you think they're going to be. So if you set boundaries, they're not going to call you at 10:30 at night unless something is crazy wrong. Mm-hmm. But if you allow them to do that, then that's kind of on you. I would say when it hits 4 o'clock or something, if I'm not out showing properties, like that's family time, then it's going to be my own time. But during the day, it's more office stuff. So work-life balance hasn't ever really been horrible for me, especially with the team. I can go on vacations and stuff, and I trust them to take care of it.
Yeah.
So
cool.
It might be a little bit different for the individual, but yeah.
Awesome. What advice would you give to someone that's watching this that aspires to have a business?
Oh, man. It's methodical. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. So you just really have to be able to grind and like see the light at the end of the tunnel. My first couple of years, I did under 10 deals, and then, it took off, but it took a while. So just seeing the light at the end of the tunnel helps a lot, and making sure that you have a game plan and sticking to it. And then of course, the right people behind you.
Yeah.
If you don't have the right people behind you, you might as well just give up now.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Love it. Well, last question. I ask this to every guest that I have on. What's been the most impactful book or podcast when it comes to your personal or professional?
Okay, that's a really good question. So this isn't like a real estate book, but Shoe Dog by Phil Knight.
Yes.
Creator of Nike.
Mm-hmm.
That's a badass book.
Yeah.
And it shows like a lot of stuff he went through, and then to still get to where he is today. It's pretty dope. Like, it's not something that many people are going to be able to do, if anybody else ever is going to be able to recreate that. So I think that's like a life book and a business book at the same time.
100%.
And it's not just going to go towards the shoe industry or the clothing industry. It's transcends and goes to all industries. Yeah.
I love it. Cool. Anything else you want to touch on?
I mean, I think we did pretty good.
We
right?
hit it. We hit everything.
Hopefully.
We hit everything. Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate Tim for coming on and being a guest. I know that everybody's going to get a ton of value from this episode. So I appreciate it. And we'll catch everybody on the next episode.